turned into a really nice day today, and I will do some maintenance and some caretaking of my boat, and I will test out the Windvane attachment. My twins are having a sort of a communion or confirmation next weekend, so I'll be really preoccupied with preparing and food and putting up a tent, etc., and also visiting probably my mother again. But today I will take care of my boat. When I found the advertisement of my present boat, there was in the translation everything was written in Dutch, and then I translated it into English, and there was a word motorbike, and I thought that must be that must be a typing error, translation error, something. But when I went to survey the boat, I found out why. I'm in maintenance mode, so lots of small jobs that I can do, that needs to be done. So I'll just introduce you to what happens in the cockpit. So this is the cockpit, the winches, and here there's this massive compartment, because Reinke, the designer of this boat, he wanted to be able to bring his motorbike. And when I was in Holland and looking at the boat with my daughter, and I opened this and I sort of expected to the engine to be there, I was just laughing, because it's 1.5 meters by 70 centimeters, and absolutely you can see there the engine is in there. And today I decided to use some of my rust transformer on my turbo, because it's very rusty, and also I just used the toothbrush to take off all the loose rust. But instead of losing the turbo, I have this magic fluid called rust transformer, and now I want to clean the engine as much as possible and grease the gear, all these small bits and bobs. Now I just climbed down into this compartment, and yeah, I'll show you around down here. This is my day tank, diesel day tank, 70 liters, and I can pump it full with this handle. So I should not ever have any debris in my diesel, as long as I remember to pump it full. And it's not really very energy consuming, this boat. Here I also just put on some of this rust transformer. I have very good experiences with that from my former steel boat, so I'll put it on everything that's rusty now. Here I have my Raycor filter, and I need a new filter. Here, double water intake, double water filters. Everything is very accessible, very not primitive, but very, over dimension, and I really absolutely appreciate that. And I'm also beginning to be sort of interested in how to maintain an engine, because I never did that. And here is my gear that I'm gonna grease now, and in here, the brownish thing in there, this thing here behind, is my turbo, which was all rusty. And then I sort of brush off all the debris that's it's falling down there, so I've got to clean that up with some towel paper, dish towel. And then I put on some of this rust transformer, and then in 1 hour's time I'll put on a second layer and maybe even a third layer. So instead of losing all the former metal, it really does transform into something that looks like iron. I repaired horse trailers with it, my steel boat, so if they haven't changed the formula, then I'm really confident. But of course, the turbo might not look very good on the inside, but I'll have to deal with that when, at some point. This room is just massive. I think it's probably 1.10 meters deep. And we have our dinghy down here. And I also have 2 paddle boards down here, and I took up the Windvane, which is also down here, because I need to use my brain to figure out the measurement of the new attachment that I am at least mentally planning instead of the steel legs. I was looking for a stainless steel Windvane, but most of them are aluminium and different kinds of materials. But I found this, and I also got a tremendously good bargain. It's out of production, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't work. I hope it's massive enough for my boat. Down here is the rudder shaft, and there is the rudder. And then I will attach it with the lines to my steering, what do you call the steering rod? And here is where the steel legs are planned to go. Here. And then onto the boat. There's two long ones. There are two long ones. And then you can see the short one is still attached. But I will, when I finish sort of maintaining the engine a little bit, I will try to figure out how I can get an aluminium construction welded directly on the boat, and then I can attach the wind rudder to that, so that I have as little, bolts as possible, because here there'll be lots of bolts and then this extra leg, and I think it's gonna, I like it, keep it simple, so I'm just gonna see if I can figure that out mentally. I have figured out how the Windvane functions. In the beginning I was just like looking at it mystified, but now I know. The blade is going to be attached up here, and then you have the counterweight there. I might, if I find out that the Windvane is actually functioning, once I get it attached, then I'll probably maybe look at the Hydrovane and then see how they make the blade, because that's kind of just a frame, lightweight frame, some kind of metal, and then they are sort of almost sewing on a sail-like material so that you can get smaller and bigger ones. But that's kind of second priority. The first priority is for me to figure out how to get the Windvane attached to the boat, and then find somebody that can weld that sort of attachment on, and then I can sort of place the Windvane in these on these legs here. So yeah, that's something for the afternoon, a little bit of mental Sudoku. Just getting up from the pit because I forgot all the materials that I lined up to maintain the engine. So I will go down, and here they are. Everything, paper to take off the rust, and then whatever I have here, grease for the rubber muff. Yeah, now that we are at some of the technicalities, here I have my water pump, and everything can be removed here. All the floorboards can be removed. I will not do that. I know that I promised you a tour of the boat. It's getting closer. And here's my water pump, and here I can also always see if there's water in the inside, and I can see now that there's a little bit of water, probably condensed. Then I will switch on bilge pump so that it can be emptied out. I do that. Yeah, I sort of, in the winter time I check it every day, and also if it's been raining, I can see there's a little bit of water down there, but it's going to be sucked out. I have these two automatic bilge pumps. I do have a third bilge pump, and a sort of automatic emergency bilge pump that ought to start automatically, not here as I'm sort of switching it on, but the contact that activates it is probably not working, and we tested it on electricity, sort of attached electricity, so it does work, but somehow it's not attached. So that's something I need to have figured out before I take off on the summer trip, so that I do have that extra security of an automatic bilge pump making it 3. Then I do have a manual also, because once the electricity is gone, you can't empty your boat. That's just it. I'm now down in the pit, and with most boat engines, there's not enough space. I sometimes watch YouTube videos where people they really almost have a room they can go into, and there should be enough room here if they had placed the engine in this massive room, but they haven't. That was a little bit of engine maintenance done, and I need to get some of the some petrol someday to get all the grease away, but now at least it's maintained a little bit. Now it's time to take a break and then work on my Windvane. Before I start working and figuring out the Windvane, I better close down to this hole so that I do not get so preoccupied with figuring something out that I fall in. Yeah, I need to measure, because this is gonna go into the water, and then it needs to have a certain distance to the boat, and this is a rudder that is gonna swing all the way like this, and I can see that this rudder cannot be flipped up like the new ones, and I'll have to take it on and off if I'm not using it. Okay, we'll see. It's pretty big actually once I get the rudder blade on, but that's good. Then I'll just have to measure, and this needs to be able to swing back and forth, because that's what's gonna drag my tiller. And then this. Yeah, I need to find a piece of paper. So the rudder blade needs to be in the water, so I'll have to measure that to see where the attachment should be. I just attached these again. I'll have my son help me lift it down a little later, and then these could be put down into aluminium tubes welded on, and this one can be put into a sort of a fork that's welded on. I just have to talk to somebody who really knows about which solution would be the strongest, because there will be massive pressure on this Windvane. And this is going to swing back and forth. It's pretty brutal actually. It should be able to steer my boat. And this is kind of what I thought about could be replaced by some kind of aluminium legs or something, but I think this is probably going to be the strongest solution, especially if these get put down into some welded tubes like this one, but more massive. Lots of things to think about. ser to gamle nisser i kigger ud af det, så gør vi det sgu. Det er så fast.
Okay.
Sæt på. Godt se, jeg har brug for dig, ikke? Din kraft. Og så kan du lige starte der, ikke? Og så kan du lige finde ud af, hvordan. Så sikkert også, at jeg holde i. Så skal du bare holde i de her. Så bøjer det indad. Yes, og så sætter du bare sådan cirka op. Okay, så skal vi have det op igen. Hvis du bare lige holder den, eller langt sted end den, så kan du ikke smide op.
Jeg tror, du ser, at det er altid så
Ja, men den sidder bare på sin stempel. Du får det lagt ned på spillet. Det er noget godt, men nu har jeg i hvert fald gennemskuddet, hvordan det virker. Super, Sylvester. Super duper. Så hvis du vil op og købe noget, lige tage hundene med. Så du kommer væk fra skærmen.
det er så.
Okay, back to square something. I don't know how it can be attached. And that's kind of what I already knew when my friends were supposed to help me, but that didn't turn out the way it should. So now I'll just have to figure out who can weld two aluminium tubes on my bathing platform, and then an extra sort of fork on the stern, and then I'm good to go. But I'll see. Yeah, I'm looking for somebody who would take on the task of welding the boat as it is in the water, so I don't have to spend a couple of thousand to get it on land.